As ever, our Beijing correspondent Yena Lee is joining us, perhaps not surprisingly, from Beijing. She's talking, though, to start with, about South Korea. They are heading to the polls in South Korea tomorrow in a snap elections after a tumultuous year. We'll be covering that for you here on France 24. But today, Yena, I know you wanted to talk to us about female voters, the role of gender in this year's vote.
Absolutely. The gender divide in politics is something we've been talking a lot about around the world in recent years. Arguably, South Korea is one of the countries where this phenomenon is the most visible. In recent elections, the way young South Korean men and young South Korean women vote have shown a stark contrast. We can really see in the numbers, 15 to 30 percentage point difference. For example, in the 2022 presidential elections, 59% of young men, so men under the age of 30, voted for the conservative candidate who would later become a president, Yoon Suk-yeol, whilst only 34% of young women of the same age group voted for him. So it'll be really interesting to observe this dynamic in this week's election also. We can safely guess that young women will mostly vote for the Democratic candidate. But what about young men this time around after that controversial martial law attempt by President Yoon, who was then later unanimously impeached by the judges of the country's top court? Will they still overwhelmingly vote conservative? And even if young women vote Democratic, it seems that many are extremely disappointed in their candidate. This demographic was particularly active when it came to ousting President Yoon on the streets at protests. I spoke to so many of them who were, chanting, who were organizing, who were taking to the stage, who were very active in this movement. In fact, almost 1 in 5 women in their 20s participated in mass gatherings, according to the BBC's numbers. Despite this, the Democratic Party is really shying away from being a vocal supporter of women's rights, as feminism has become such a dirty word in South Korean politics. And those who care about this issue feel that their concerns have once again been put behind. It's really taking a back seat. South Korea's gender pay gap, for example, is the highest among OECD countries. Women are severely underrepresented in politics and in boardrooms. Gender-based crimes are a big concern in the country right now, as is the falling birth rate, the lowest birth rate in the world. So all of this, of course, has something to do with gender roles, with gender relations and representation, but it seems that the two main candidates from the two main political parties for this year's snap elections just haven't come up with any meaningful propositions.
I notice you're looking very chilled there, very calm. I think it's because it's a bank holiday there, isn't it? And apparently it's the Dragon Boat Festival as well. How's this being celebrated there?
Well, the Dragon Boat Festival is celebrated on the 5th day of the 5th month of the lunar calendar. It's a holiday that's famous for two things, most of all, iconic boat races and jongju, or rice balls that have been wrapped up in bamboo leaves. Over the weekend, there have been events across China and indeed other parts of the world with large Chinese communities. Legend has it that the Dragon Boat Festival started as a way to commemorate a Chinese poet who drowned after learning about his state's invasion. His admirers apparently rushed out and tried to save him and then threw rice into the river, hoping that the fish wouldn't eat his body, hence the boats and hence the rice cakes. Some scholars say, though, that this festival existed before the poet's time, which was around 300 BC. It was a custom invented by tribes who worshipped dragons even way back then. And that was because 5 is an inauspicious number in traditional Chinese customs, and they wanted to ward off bad luck on this particular day. So the history of this festival is still pretty much a mystery, but for people here, it is a bank holiday, which means time off work if you're lucky, and time with family and friends, and perhaps taking part in a local dragon boat race.
Well, I hope you get the rest of the day off, Yena. Thank you very much, Yena Lee, joining us there from Beijing. Go and put your feet up. I think you deserve it.